Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to Darest Thou Now, O Soul, poem number 1 of the 18 of Whispers of Heavenly Death. Now we're going to see many of the themes of Heavenly Death, the cluster happening here in this poem. Now our assumptions are that you've been with us at learnstrong.net, down that left inside Talks with Walt, our playlist. From the very beginning, we worked through a set of introductory comments for Intro to Whispers. My hope is that you have as well already been exposed to that. And now we're ready to get some background information from our Nortons. Now, for this one, we're told it appeared in Broadway Magazine, London, October 1868, the second of 5 numbered poems under the single title, Whispers of Heavenly Death. They had been submitted in response to solicitation from Rutledge and Sons, December 28, 1867, to whom Whitman replied December 30th, 1867, and again January 17th and February 19th of 1868. He actually accepted $50 in gold for the poems after an asking price of $120. The poem was printed in Passage to India of 1871, in the Passage to India supplement of Leaves of Grass 1871 and of Two Rivulets 1876, and in the present text 1881 with the word bounding in the 12th line as a revision for bound. The division into 3-line stanzas gives an impressive sense of regularity, Nortons will say. And I want to point this out. Here, we're going to get the beginnings of the idea in this whole cluster. I say the beginnings. Obviously, it's not beginning. We've seen it all the way through Leaves of Grass. Of the Odyssey of the Self, as some have called it. Notice the 3-line stanza regularity. That's going to give a sense maybe of the stages of spiritual ascent. We obviously think of our Dante moving from Inferno to Purgatorio to Paradiso. We've given full lectures on that at learnstrong.net. That is to say, borrowing from the idea of maybe Jacob's ladder. That is to say, there's this ladder-like structure of the souls ascending. Let's read the poem. Darest thou now, O soul, walk out with me toward the unknown region where neither ground is for the feet nor any path to follow? No map there, nor guide, nor voice sounding, nor touch of human hand, nor face with blooming flash, nor lips, nor eyes are in that land. I know it not, O soul, nor dost thou. All is a blank before us. All waits undreamed of in that region, that inaccessible land, till when the ties loosen, all but the ties eternal, time and space, nor darkness, gravitation, sense, nor any bounds bounding us. Then we burst forth, we float in time and space, O soul, prepared for them, equal, equipped at last, O joy, O fruit of all, them to fulfill, O soul. Now, as we have said, Whitman's theodicy, that attempt to try to explain the pain and the suffering of human existence, is on display in the 18 poems of Whispers of Heavenly Death. In other words, you have not met any 200-year-old people, which means what? Well, sooner or later, we've got to take the journey that he is describing. But notice right away, it begins with the word Darest. Now, you'll maybe recall that in Song of Myself 46, I will you to be a bold swimmer. That will is dare. It's a very similar kind of word. You'll also remember, and as I ebbed with the ocean of life, I have dared to open my mouth. So this idea of taking the dare, taking the risk. And they'll notice now it's O soul. Now the word soul will be used 19 times in Whispers of Heavenly Death, the cluster. So we're going to be paying attention to it a lot, taking us obviously back to Passage to India. Notice the use of the word now. In other words, are we ready to go? And this is again, I think, part of reading this cluster. Whitman starts to kind of recognize his aging and recognizes, I got to get ready to go. Then we go to the walking metaphor. Obviously, Song of the Open Road comes to mind. Afoot and lighthearted, I take to the open road. Walk out with me toward, notice though, it's an unknown region. That phrase is only used one time in Leaves of Grass, and it's here. This will, of course, remind us that region, that idea of the unknown region is going to take us back to Plato's Phaedo, no question. And you'll remember Socrates' observations. We commented on this, I think, in our intro lecture. By the way, just to inform, O soul is used 30 times in Leaves of Grass. So clear, I mean, we've seen it already. We're going to see it again. Notice he's daring his soul to walk out with him toward the unknown region, where neither ground is for the feet, nor any path to follow. Now this is of course going to take us from our Odyssey to our Dante. That is to say, so much of epic poetry is about the journey. This is one of the reasons why many call Leaves of Grass that idea of the American epic. Notice he'll say it, and again, notice these 3-line stanzas, the beautiful balance. No map there. You'll maybe remember the use of the word map in Song for Occupations number 3, as well as Passage to India 6. Nor guide, of course, no Virgil, in other words, to take Dante through hell, if you will. This idea of guide, you'll remember from Song of Myself 44. Nor voice sounding, nor touch of human hand, nor face with blooming flesh, nor lips, nor eyes are in that land. How rarely have we seen end rhyme, and yet notice here with hand and land. By the way, let's just point out, it's altogether possible. And Whitman certainly gestured at this idea, that the guide, the hand, that would take one through the land, that would be this unknown region, this unknown land, would be Whitman himself with Leaves of Grass. We'll maybe end with that question at 3b. And then he'll say, I know it not. Now this is again, epistemologically, the fallibilist position, uncertainty. I think I'm right, but I could be wrong. This idea of, I'm not sure what I know about this place, this post-death place, O soul, nor dost thou. In other words, this is going to be an adventure. All is a blank before us. Hey, go back to Crossing Brooklyn Ferry at passage 6 and see how he uses this word blank. All waits undreamed of in that region. Earlier it was the unknown region. That inaccessible land, inaccessible. All of Leaves of Grass, only one time is used. I find it odd and ironic that it's used right here. In other words, what are we saying? Translinguistic. Whatever it is that the afterlife will be like, it can't be spoken of. It can only be experienced. Notice the word till. Till when the ties loosen. I told you guys about this clasping, grabbing, hugging, all of those, kind of motifs in Leaves of Grass. And now notice we're about to let it go. The loosening of the ties. Here in a second it'll be the bounds bounding us will be let go. All but the ties eternal. And then of course it's time and space. Go back to Song of Myself 46. I know I have the best of time and space. It was never measured. It's an interesting trajectory to read Leaves of Grass this way. To read passage 6 of Song of Myself, then passage 46, 47 of Song of Myself, and then to jump to a poem like this at the, now coming to the end of Leaves of Grass, right? And he'll say it this way, till when the ties loosen, all but the eternal ties eternal, time and space, nor darkness, gravitation, sense, nor any bounds bounding us. In other words, the physical gives way to the metaphysical. And obviously we're back to Plato's Republic and to especially Book 7 in the cave allegory, no question. Some would argue as well, as I said, Phaedo and the study of Phaedo. Go back and take a look at what we had to say about that at learnstrong.net. Notice we go till, and then the next and final stanza is then. We burst forth. It's interesting that he uses, some have noticed, quasi-sexual language here. We burst forth. This word burst is also in that poem, Earth My Likeness, eligible to burst forth. And then it's we float. Notice passage to India comes back to mind, farther, farther sail. You'll remember this one as well. In Fast Anchored Eternal, O Love, I float the regions of your love. This idea of floating. In time and space, we're back to it again. O soul. And then there's this word, prepared for them. Equal, equipped at last. Prepared, equipped. There's your education. There is your Whitman as pedagogue. Whitman is teacher. In other words, there has to be some meaning to all of the events of our life. What is that meaning? Well, it's to prepare for this journey. And then in parenthetics, oh joy. Oh, again, 6 times the word oh used in this poem. Oh, fruit of all. In other words, this notion of leaves of grass, fruit of all. Them to fulfill, O soul. In other words, there is some culmination, a fulfillment. And you get this sense that it's not a frightening situation at all, is it? Right, for Whitman. Well, what are we going to say about this poem at 2a? Well, life is preparation for the journey of the soul. Notice it to be the repetition of the O sounds in being used 6 times. At 3A, of course, we have the Odyssey, we have the Aeneid, we have Dante, we have Milton, all of those journeys motifs. I'd also like to challenge you to think about Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and the pilgrimage that is being outlined there. We've given, obviously, full lectures at for all this stuff at One Strong. Finally, at 3B, how has reading Leaves of Grass helped you prepare for the possible journey of the soul? To what degree is a poem like this giving you some solace? I'll challenge you to think about that. Thank you.